We marched from Edinburgh under orders to relieve Stirling Castle, which the rebels were then besieging. The weather was execrable, rain without ceasing, and the roads impassable in places. Our artillery mired fast in the bog. When we reached Falkirk, we found the enemy already formed upon the moor, their Highlanders drawn in line atop a ridge. Their position was naturally strong, backed by woods and steep slopes. General Hawley, confident in past success, delayed our deployment. When battle commenced, it was near dusk and raining fiercely. Our right engaged first, where Colonel Ligonier's dragoons advanced up the hill but met with a terrible volley. The Highlanders then charged with great ferocity, shouting and brandishing their broadswords. Our men, already sodden and fatigued, broke in confusion. I saw one company stand firm and deliver a fine fire, but it was of no use. The line was pierced and thrown into disorder. The rebels pursued with cries of "Claymore!" and we fell back through the town in haste. It was not a complete rout, but near to it.
The men were in fine spirits that morning, despite the sodden ground. The pipes played, and we took to the moor above the enemy's position. We could see the redcoats forming below us, like ants in the mire. Prince Charles rode among us, praising our courage. When the order came, we moved with all speed, Highland broadswords drawn. Our left met with resistance, but the right swept down like a thunderbolt. The government horse fled before us, cowards. Their foot tried to rally, but they were no match for Highland fury. The bayonets of the Lowlanders were dulled by the rain. Ours were sharpened by vengeance. Many of the Campbells fell that day. We captured many arms and some prisoners. The field was ours, though the prince was displeased at the disorder which followed. Many clansmen scattered to loot or chase fugitives. Still, it was a great victory for the cause.
The thunder of musketry reached us shortly after the 5th hour in the evening. It was yet day, but the skies poured without mercy, and the wind howled across the moor. From the town, we could see the smoke of the action drift across the ridge west of Falkirk. All who remained here were in a state of terror, expecting the worst. By 7 o'clock, we knew the truth. General Hawley's army was broken. Soldiers poured through the streets in the dark, their uniforms sodden, many without arms or hats. Some were wounded, others spoke of the devilish charge of the Highlanders. One dragoon swore that the clans came down the hill like demons unleashed, and that none could stand before their onset. A party of Jacobite horse entered the town ere midnight. They made no cruelty, but demanded billets and supplies. I offered them whisky and bread to avoid trouble. Among them was a young officer no older than my son, who said, with pride, "The king shall dine in Stirling by week's end." I said nothing, fearing to provoke him, though my heart was loyal to King George. This morning the hills are covered with mist, and bodies lie upon the moor. Some townsmen went to bury the dead, but were warned away by rebel pickets. There is much sorrow, but also confusion. Many thought the government army invincible. But now we see that not even redcoats can withstand the fury of Highland steel.
Monseigneur, I have the honour to report that the Prince's army has gained a notable success against the English forces near Falkirk. The enemy, under General Hawley, marched with arrogance to raise our siege of Stirling. They believed us weak and disorganized, but their pride became their undoing. On the 17th, under a miserable sky of rain and wind, our forces occupied the higher ground. I stood with Lord George Murray and the Prince as the Highland regiments prepared to descend the slope. The enemy deployed in poor order, too confident, too slow. Their cavalry, positioned on their right, attempted a bold charge, but the Highlanders stood firm and poured musket fire with discipline most uncharacteristic of such irregular troops. When the pipes sounded and the Highlanders advanced with broadswords flashing, the enemy line wavered, then broke. It was most astonishing. I have seen many battles in the service of France, but never one where victory came so suddenly. The English fled through Falkirk, abandoning cannon and baggage. But alas, the aftermath was less noble. The Highlanders, brave in war but unruly in triumph, scattered in pursuit and plunder. The prince tried to rally them, but it was near impossible. Still, I must say, the courage and shock of the charge were unlike anything I have witnessed before. France should take serious notice of these men and their prince, for they are capable of shaking this island.
The affair at Falkirk was fought in wretched weather, with cold winds and such torrents of rain that powder was near useless. Our men were soaked to the bone, yet their spirits were high, for we occupied the ground above the enemy, and that is half the battle won in Scotland. I placed the Macdonalds and Camerons upon the right, with the Stuarts and Macgregors upon the left. The line was stretched thin, for the moor is wide, but our Highlanders moved swiftly and with great vigour. When the government cavalry came up the slope, they did so in disorder, their coats and weapons heavy with rain. A sharp volley from our ranks unhorsed many, and they fled without making contact. We then advanced upon their foot. The left of our line had greater success. There the enemy broke utterly and ran. On the right some of their regiments stood firm and exchanged volleys. Yet even there the momentum turned. The Highland charge, once begun, is a force no army in Britain has yet withstood. It grieves me to report that the aftermath was muddled. The men, believing the battle won, broke rank and pursued stragglers or went to plunder. Darkness fell early, and the rain continued, making it impossible to reform lines. Thus, though the enemy was vanquished, we gained no advantage from the victory. The prince was displeased by the want of discipline, yet the field was ours, and for once our men knew they had beaten the redcoats in fair fight.